All right, for today's video review, we're going to finish off our look at our second Hearts of Steel 2-pack here. This is Transformers Timelines Bumblebee and Megatron. We took a look at Megatron in my last video, and for today's video, we're just going to be taking a look at Bumblebee. So yeah, I'll just take Megatron and put him off to the side. And yeah, Bumblebee, I think is the one that I was like the most excited for out of these, the 4 Hearts of Steel figures, just because I love Bumblebee's Hearts of Steel design. Unfortunately, I do think he's probably the weakest figure overall, but that's not really to say he's like bad or anything. I just think he's not quite as good as the other ones. I adore his adorable little train mode here. It looks super cute. It rolls pretty nicely when you can actually get all the wheels on the ground. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes to, keep him from wobbling about just because, the knees are on actually fairly tight hinges. So sometimes they want to fight you a little bit. But yeah, he's still pretty good. Yeah, you can see he's wobbling around there a little bit, but still works pretty well. He does come with a couple weapons here with a hammer and a little pistol here. Now, in terms of storage, for alt mode, you basically just take the little gun and just plug it on underneath like this, and then for the hammer, you do have to kind of partially transform and just split the legs here so you can take the hammer, and then there's 2 slots on either side that will go into these 2 little tabs right there, which you could probably force into place without actually unpegging anything, but it's a little easier, I think, to do it this way. And then, yeah, everything stores completely unobtrusively in his alt mode, which I love. Wish they continued that trend for the robot mode, because they don't have any storage at all in the robot mode, which is a huge bummer to me personally, but I do appreciate that stuff stores very cleanly in the alt mode there. But yeah, no, it's a cute little train mode and definitely looks a lot like his design from the Hearts of Steel comics. But yeah, very cute. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for a standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe. For a train comparison, here he is with Astro Train from Siege. I hope we get a new Astro Train relatively soon, because I'm not a huge fan of this figure, but either way, that's what 2 of them look like together. For another Bumblebee comparison, here he is with our, my Frankenstein's monster Bumblebee that's made up of like 3 different figures. But yeah, no, that's what the 2 of them look like together. This mold, the Netflix mold. And then last but not least, here he is with the other Hearts of Steel guys there. And I think that, yeah, him and Optimus look pretty good together. I do sort of wish that we got Optimus Prime's like tender to actually be his trailer, because otherwise they both look kind of like little chibi cutesy trains, whereas I feel like that's more Bumblebee's jam, whereas Optimus sort of feels like he should be like a longer train like Astro Train, but that's more to say about him than him. But yeah, no, I think the 4 of them look pretty good together. He's definitely the smallest of the 4, which he should be. But yeah, to get onto transformation, we'll just take these guys off. And then what kind of frustrates me about his transformation is he has a real sort of like rock, paper, scissors type transformation where you have to like start one thing, and then before you finish that thing, you have to start a different thing. And then before that thing's finished, you have to start a third thing. And it's just sort of like, I wish I could just do each step on its own rather than like doing each step halfway before doing something else. But so first thing you kind of want to do is take the wheels here. They're on a very, very tight swivel joint here. I don't know why it's so tight. But you want to rotate them down just like halfway, because you can't bring them all the way around yet, because then the toe bits here will stretch out the wheels a little bit, which isn't good for them. But that's where they'll end up. And then you can unpeg the legs. And then actually you can take the arms here, fold these bits up, which allows you to grab the gun and take it out of place, which then gives you the clearance to kind of rotate the legs down a bit more. Then if we split the legs, we can take the hammer out, take the feet. They will double hinge down like this. And then we can take the wheels and rotate them down the rest of the way. They're annoyingly like locked to the knee joints as well. There is a very shallow tab here that the wheels are supposedly supposed to sit on. It doesn't like really do anything. It's more of just like where you're supposed to get them to. But yeah, there we have the legs all done. We can take basically, now that the arms are out of the way, you can take this panel, fold it down a little bit, which gives you the clearance to take these 2 gray panels and fold them out like that. And then you can take, I guess first thing you want to do, I always forget to do this in the right order, but you want to take this little panel, unfold it, and then grab that and then rotate this down to, you kind of have to spread these a little bit to get his head out. And then you can take this section here, split it down the middle, and it will rotate out like this, and you kind of rotate these pieces up to be the shoulder pads, which then gives you the clearance to fold this piece down, and then you can take the arms, flip them out till they click into place, rotate them forward, and then fold out the hands. And then we can just kind of tidy up his backpack here. You fold this panel further down, you take these, kind of fold them back more or less where they were in train mode, and then take this panel and fold it to the back. And there we have Hearts of Steel Bumblebee in his robot mode. And yeah, he looks decent. I would say proportionally, he's a little bit less than desirable in some places. Like, I feel like he looks a little bit lankier than I might want him to, but honestly, I've kind of gotten used to it. It's mostly just that the shoulders sit a little bit lower compared to where the head is, I feel like, but still, he's a pretty decent looking figure here. Now we can give him his weapons. Of course, he can have his classic hammer here, and then the little pistol as well. And then the real, I would say, the biggest bummer to me about this figure is that these things just straight up have no place to go in robot mode. Like, you can, I guess, take the pistol and sort of just like cram it into the back here and it will hold at some angles, but it's certainly not a dedicated spot and doesn't like have a good locking point or anything. And there's really nothing you can do with the hammer, unfortunately, which sucks. I wish you could do something like, can you? No, it's not even the same. Like, these are not even the same width as this tab here that plugs into the leg, so you can't even like get it sitting off of the shoulder pad. There's really nowhere you can sort of like loop it through like you can do with some things. There's really just no weapon storage in robot mode at all, which is a huge bummer, because like they went through the effort of making this nice integrated weapon storage in vehicle mode where you're not just like plugging weapons onto the top of a train and making it look stupid, and then they just give it nowhere to go in robot mode. Like, why does it feel like recently they only do one or the other? Like, it's not, it would make more sense to me, honestly, if it was like consistent, like they never did storage in vehicle mode and always did storage in robot mode. But it seems like every time they do storage in vehicle mode, they were like, no, we don't have to do it in robot mode. But like, what? I don't understand. So I don't know. That's a bit of a personal gripe, but it does bum me out that you really have nowhere to put these other than in his hand, especially because I feel like him holding both of them at the same time looks kind of dumb. Like, I would ideally want him to just like hold the hammer, which I would still like it to have storage for like as an option, but I don't know. That's like a personal thing. So I'll probably put those off to the side and display him without them or just with the hammer. I don't know, but yeah, that's probably my biggest gripe about the figure overall. But other than that, he's got a nice looking head sculpt. It's maybe a little bit small for his body, but you know, he's got the nice design there with the blunted horns that he had for the Hearts of Steel comic. In terms of articulation, head's on a ball joint, which can rotate around, gets a little bit of wiggle. Shoulders are on ball joints as well, so they can rotate forward and back and out to the side, and you can kind of move the shoulder pad out of the way. It's got a bicep swivel, about 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. The wrists can only bend down for transformation, which can be kind of helpful when he's like, you know, holding the hammer. So you can actually have him like, you know, holding it down a little bit, but you know, it only goes so far before his wrist just looks broken. He's got a waist joint. He also, just for transformation, you can kind of use this as like a backwards ab crunch kind of joint, which is kind of funny because like that's what the Netflix mold has too, is he can do that, which is still kind of neat. Hips can go forward and back and out to the side. He's got a thigh swivel. Now the knees are like really linked to these stupid wheels, which I wish was just on a separate joint, but you have to kind of hold them in place. And when you hold them in place, he's got a pretty nice deep knee bend, but it's just a little bit annoying that, you know, by default, they want to move the wheels with them. Then the feet here can tilt out to the side and can tilt forward and back. Well, really more back than forward, but yeah, so okay articulation, really nothing too crazy, but also not really missing any major joints either. Just the knees, I think, are a little bit annoying to work with, but other than that, he's pretty decent. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for that standard one, here he is again with Kingdom side swipes. You can see a little smaller than average Deluxe, which makes sense for Bumblebee, although just like proportionally with his head, it sort of feels like he's like a larger figure that is downscaled. I don't know why they made his head so small. I mean, I know why, because so it can fit in there, but it's kind of a bummer that it's that tiny, but that's what he looks like with him. Here here he is again with the Netflix Bumblebee mold. So you can see he's a little bit bigger than he is. He's not quite as wee of a deluxe as a lot of Bumblebees have been. And then here he is with the other Hearts of Steel guys that we've had so far. And yeah, like I said, they're a good looking group. I'd say if you had to only pick up one set, I do like the Starscream and Optimus set a bit better, but that's not really to say that Megatron and Bumblebee are bad figures. Like, they're all really decent toys. None of them are super amazing, and none of them are terrible. They're all just decent and kind of all on par with each other, honestly, even if I like some slightly more than others. Like, they're all just fine. Like, they're good toys. They're just, you know, not blowing up any expectations or anything like that. But yeah, I would say really my biggest complaint with Bumblebee is just that he doesn't have that weapon storage, and that's not even the kind of thing that's going to bother everybody. But you know, to each their own, I suppose. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday and Thursday, and without further ado, here we have Transformers Timelines Hearts of Steel Bumblebee.